The British Isles is world famous for its spectacular mansions. Boasting centuries of history, these country piles are legacies of a bygone age. Each has a custodian, fiercely proud of their homes. But behind these stunning facades lies a dirty secret.
The last time I had a bath was about 2 or 3 years ago.
I don't like to throw things out because there could be a use for them.
Cleaning and tidying is a way down on my list.
It probably is too much for one person.
These stately homes have gone to seed, but there is a radical solution.
When things look clean, the world makes sense.
Each week, the country's most obsessive compulsive cleaners, dedicated to hygiene and order,
It's a perfectly good king-size bed, and I sleep over there.
team up to take on the grandest filth of their lives.
He's going to hurt his stomach muscles soon.
It's a few house rules.
I think that you're treating me like a servant.
And to push their boundaries, for the first time ever, they'll be taking up residence too.
There's a mouse. It's dead. I'm not staying here.
It's poo on the bedding.
Oh. No, that's it.
I just can't do it.
In just 5 days, can the compulsive cleaners challenge their obsessive behaviours and rescue these mansions
That's a flipping death.
from housekeeping hell? Or have they finally met their match?
You have moved stuff. Where have you put it?
Would you like me to carry on, or would you like me to go home?
That's a question.
The sooner they can go, the better.
In the heart of Flintshire, North Wales, is a Grade 1 listed mansion, Plas. Built in 1610, this 10-bedroom Jacobean mansion was bought for £70,000 by Cornelia Bailey as a derelict shell in 1985.
200 years ago, there'd been 20 or 30 people looking after the house. Now there's just me and the cat.
Retired antiques dealer Cornelia has poured tens of thousands of pounds into keeping the grand house standing and preserving the 17th century aesthetic.
This house means so much to me because I'm a collector. I always think furniture and things are as important as people, you see.
But Cornelia's money has run out. Now her only income is her small pension and occasional paranormal evenings.
I call upon all the spirits of Plas.
The survival of Plas hangs in the balance.
The financial pressures are terrible. It's got to make more money for itself. The cooker needs fixing and the boiler needs fixing. The last time I had a bath was about 2 or 3 years ago. Can't afford the hot water. But in the 18th century, people didn't have baths all the time, so I'm just living in another age, that's all.
With so much to worry about, the cleaning has dropped down the list of priorities.
I don't hoover because I don't like hoovering. You know, I mean, I think this floor's been hoovered perhaps 2 or 3 times in 29 years.
In a bid to raise funds, in 5 days' time, Cornelia will host a grand house tour for the paying public. But 29 years of dirt and dust are turning tourists away.
When I bought the house, I didn't realise how much it was going to be a problem. It's just me, so I obviously need extra help.
With such a grand problem, not one, but 2 cleaning obsessives have agreed to help Cornelia deep clean her Jacobean mansion.
Oh my God.
30-year-old OCD-diagnosed Hayley from East Grinstead can spend up to 19 hours a day ensuring her home is spotless.
I hoover the ceiling because I don't want germs and bacteria and dust falling, like, on my head.
A mother of 3, Hayley uses 2 bottles of bleach every day and spends £300 a month on cleaning products.
If the bleach isn't strong enough, like if it's not choking me and hitting the back of my throat, then I have to use more. I could be in here up to 8 times a day cleaning the toilet. I change my bed sheets every day. It makes me feel happier. When things look clean and they look like clinical, then I feel relaxed and I feel like the world makes sense.
And joining Hayley is 24-year-old order and germ-obsessed Dan.
Everything in my house is on a 45-degree angle. I know if I placed it there and it's still in the position that it was, I feel a lot more relaxed.
Though he's not clinically diagnosed with OCD, Dan suffers from a chronic fear of germs.
2. I wipe my door handles about 1,000 times a day, and that's because it would just be a complete harbour for bacteria and just the germs, and how they can be spread. It's all a bit... Ugh.
And spends up to 40 hours a week ensuring his house looks like a show home.
My obsessive tendencies have affected my life because I will miss things if my house isn't in a position that I'm happy with. Relationships have failed before, and I have missed events with friends and family because my obsession does take over.
So I'm going away for a week. I'm obviously taking with me my clothes and as much bleach as I can possibly fit in this bag.
Dan and Hayley will say goodbye to their modern, sterile homes and challenge their obsessions by leaving the safety of their routines and confronting Cornelia's 17th century dusty mansion.
I'm leaving a home that I know that's safe and that's clean, and going into somewhere else that I don't know how dirty, I don't know how it's been looked after. It's going to be hard.
I think that upper class people look at me and they'll hear my voice and it's kind of like, oh, she is common. And I am.
Hayley and Dan have cleaned other people's grimy homes before, but this will be their grandest challenge yet.
Plas tag.
What's a jacket been?
I don't know.
Oh my god, it's huge.
Wow.
That is ginormous. Oh my goodness. It's so big. And it stinks like cow poo.
There's loads of like statues everywhere.
I don't really like statues either. I think they're hard to clean. We're like borrowers compared to the size of this house.
Hello, I'm Cornelia. Welcome to Plas.
Thank you.
Come in.
Thank you.
I'm afraid it's the coldest house in Wales. This is their great hall.
What's that smell?
Maybe the polish. I polish all the floors and all the furniture.
What do you polish them with?
Special polish that you can't buy in the shops. When I bought the house, it was a derelict house.
How long have you had it for?
29 years.
Wow. So this is finished?
This is finished. Oh, yeah.
They are a worker's hand.
They are.
I will tell you that. They are a worker's hand.
Yeah,
yes,
I know.
they are.
Yeah.
Before bleach obsessives Hayley and Dan see the extent of Plasteg's decades' worth of dust and grime, Cornelia wants to establish her house rules.
I want things done how they were done in another age.
Okay.
You can't use any spray polishes, any of these modern things on my furniture.
Okay.
But, I don't like the modern smells, and I hate things that make rooms smell nice. I think they're ghastly.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you probably think that as well, I would think.
We like the smell of bleach. How do you
Do
feel
you?
about
Oh, no.
bleach?
Oh, no, no. Oh, you mustn't put bleach on any time, nothing.
What about products that are like...
I don't like products used.
Okay.
I like a bit of dust, anyway, but so it looks real. It's a house that's lived,
Yeah.
it's lived in.
Just struggling to think what we'd actually use.
Nothing, just water. On a sponge, that's all.
It doesn't kill the bacteria then, does it?
But the bacteria can live here, I couldn't care less. I mean...
Yeah.
Can we use things like fairy liquid? for
Yes,
instance?
yes,
So you'd like
that's
that?
the only thing.
Okay. It's definitely going to be somewhat of a challenge.
250 years ago, this type of mansion would have had 20 indoor servants, dedicated to making all the rooms spotless.
Anyway, come through to the kitchen. Come and see it.
Definitely no way.
Cornelia?
Yeah?
Can you hold the curtain open for me, please? I'm really sorry. It's just I've got OCD.
What's that?
For me, it's like germs and dirt and stuff, and it makes me really anxious and have like panic attacks. I'm too nervous to touch. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
This is the kitchen.
So when was the last time you cleaned in here?
It's been all the time. It's been cleaned even this morning. The house is open to the public, so it has to be cleaned. This is the cooker, which doesn't work.
So you use that as a cupboard?
I use it as a cupboard. Yeah.
Okay.
So the only cooking I've got is on a microwave. So I live on cheese pasties every day of the week. Nothing
Okay.
else.
Do you clean that quite often?
No, never.
Really? Why not?
Don't have time.
I just can't believe how many things you have. We're going to die here, aren't we?
Probably.
This is my library, which is where I do most things.
Ooh.
Oh, it's
Smells
warm
like,
in here.
yeah, it smells like the fire's been on.
Yeah, it's the only room that has heat on.
Really?
Yeah,
Is this the-
I sleep in here.
You sleep in here?
Yeah, on the sofa. It's about 1820, very important Regency sofa.
Do you bring, like, your pillow and your duvet in at night, then? Or?
Yeah, I know, they're tucked behind the desk.
So you couldn't heat another room up?
Can't afford to.
So it's quite costly?
Yeah.
There's just too much work for you, isn't there?
It is, yeah. It's a bit, it's impossible.
To get this house in order, I think we need a miracle or Jesus or something, because I can't express enough how big and how messy this house is.
Hayley and Dan are not just faced with a mammoth cleaning task.
This is where you'll be sleeping.
They've also agreed to challenge their obsessive behaviours by staying over for 5 nights.
This room and the one downstairs are the two most haunted rooms in the house.
This is where I'm sleeping?
Yes. It's the most famous haunted house in Wales. So you might get a visitor.
Oh, this is unreal. Wow.
Hayley, this is your room.
Cornelia, when was the bedding last washed in here? It's never been washed. No. What about the mattress? Do you clean the mattresses?
No, of course not.
How old is the mattress?
Could be 100 years old or something. You know, this is how people used to live years ago. And I still live like that. Let me show you the bathroom. The bath has cold water.
Okay.
But the water's going to come out rusty because no one's had a bath here for about 29 years.
Okay.
So, where would we bathe? You know...
Well, there's nowhere.
Okay, so...
I don't have a bath. No one, you know, you can't. People don't normally bother to bath, you see. That's the simplest answer.
Yeah, I'm just conscious that we're here for a week, sweating, cleaning.
And I shower, like, sometimes 4 times a day.
Yeah, 2 or 3 myself.
I mean, I find it extraordinary. I must go now and leave you to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Sort out things.
Yeah.
Thanks,
all
I've got
right.
things to do. Okay.
How can she be happy living here like this?
It's not a way of life, it's torture.
I can't not wash. I feel so bad for her, but I feel even worse for me.
I didn't realise it would be as awful as this. They're stupid, all this... I mean, they won't let a bit of dust touch their hands. I mean...
With such a grand housekeeping problem,
Oh no.
Hayley and Dan have decided to share a room and conquer the decades of dirt together.
If this is 100 years old, it's 100 years worth of skin. Look, Dan, there's a hole here, and I reckon that mice have got in through there. Look, they've chewed it, I think.
Let's search the room to see if we find any mice, because there is, I'm not saying. Something's going to jump out, I can feel it. Look at that, Hayley.
Oh. See, look, it's been chewed, it's been eaten, you can see. Look at that. What's that? What? Oh my God, Dan. There's a dead mouse here. Oh my God.
I can't even look at it.
There's a mouse. It's dead. It's next to my foot. I'm not staying here. It's too much. That's it.
In North Wales, obsessive cleaners Dan and Hayley are cleaning Cornelia's 10-bedroom mansion, Plas, which has been left to gather dust for 29 years.
Be nice to give Plas a spring clean. As long as no one breaks anything or moves anything out of the wrong place.
In 4 days' time, Cornelia is hosting an open house tour to make some much-needed money. But for it to be a success, the house needs a serious overhaul.
There's just too much work for you, isn't there?
It is, yeah.
Last night, both Hayley and Dan checked into a local hotel. They failed to sleep over at Plas, with the conditions proving too much.
There's no way I would have stayed last night. I couldn't have. There was too many things that I'm just, again, it's like the not bathing, and then we found the dead mouse, obviously, and that was just enough.
With so little time, Dan and Hayley must prioritise what to clean.
It's really overwhelming. It's just a wreck, and there's no other way to describe it.
They'll be focusing on 3 rooms in this 400-year-old home. The kitchen, the bathroom, and starting with the focus of all stately homes, the Great Hall.
Watch this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah. But I like a bit of dust, because the house is old.
Cornelia doesn't own a vacuum cleaner, preferring to use a dustpan and brush. These carpets have been vacuumed twice in 29 years.
But the problem is, if you pull this carpet up, it would just fall apart.
Cornelia, obviously there's a lot of dust, so I think this hoover's going to be really good to pull it up because it's got a soft mic, so it will be really, really gentle, whereas other hoovers are far too powerful. That's why the Pope uses this, because it's gentle on his lovely red carpet.
But he doesn't have to do the hoovering, does he?
Of course not. I'll let you have a turn if you want.
No, I'll let you do it. I'm afraid to.
Hayley was diagnosed with OCD in 2007. She uses this £1,400 vacuum cleaner on her carpets 5 times a day.
Can you see the change in colour? But it's not wrecking your, the rug.
Isn't it amazing how clean that is?
Really, it really is.
I don't think it looked like that when I bought it new.
What, I can taste the dust in between my teeth.
Your face has gone sooty as well.
After 2 hours of vacuuming, Hayley has done just a quarter of the carpet.
Look at that, Dan. That is just full of dust. I just don't want to use my hoover anymore because I feel like it's going to break.
The cleaners decide to give the hoover and themselves a break from the dust. They agree to divide and conquer for the next stage of this massive clean.
So dirty. There's filth. It's just dirt upon dirt upon dirt.
Council worker Dan is starting in the pantry, cleaning Cornelia's 300-piece collection of Staffordshire Carltonware china.
I mean, look at that. It's, the date on it is... Oh, February 2010, so 5 years out of date.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. How do people live like this?
Upstairs, Hayley's been cleaning the bathroom for 2 hours under Cornelia's strict instructions, using just soap and water.
Oh, it's dripping all over my face! That fungus falling all over me! I'm going to be like an absolute mushroom later. Look, I can't do it. I can't cope with that.
Instead of helping with the clean inside, Cornelia is outside,
Dandelions everywhere.
tending to her 2.5 acres of grass.
I must spend at least 4 hours a day pulling the weeds out because there's so many. I can't afford to have a garden, you see. Fluffy Ginger would help if he could.
Cornelia?
Yeah.
I've
Doing
been
my weeding.
Do you want me to help you?
No, it's okay.
So Cornelia, I've been doing the coral bathroom and I'm just struggling a little bit, so I just wanted to check if we can use a product.
No, impossible to use a product.
But it's really difficult to clean with just soap and water when the dirt is so, ingrained.
But it's because it's so old. Obviously, it's been used for such a long time.
I just feel like at the moment I'm at a bit of a loss as to what I can do to help you.
Why don't you just read a nice book? Then you'll be happy.
At home, Hayley uses 2 bottles of bleach a day. 48 hours into her time at Plas, she hasn't been able to use a drop.
I do feel like being in this house is like pushing my boundaries so far, but I so desperately want to help her that I'm willing to, put myself in this unbearable situation.
I go out into the garden to get away from everything, of all the problems of anything of life.
Cornelia committed herself to restoring Plas 29 years ago, heartbroken after the breakdown of a relationship.
What happened in London was that my dearest friend George died of AIDS, and lots of other friends, and Christopher, the love of my life, left me.
Now alone, Cornelia lives without heat and hot water, her only income coming from her state pension, paranormal evenings, and historic tours charging just £7 a visitor.
All that's left in life is working here, keeping it going. And I've got into that routine.
With work on the bathroom at a standstill, Hayley and Dan are in the kitchen, which has never had a deep clean.
So I think we're going to start with the table.
Don't use any bleach on nothing.
OK, no bleach then?
No. I'm going to move the china so it doesn't get broken. It was only cleaned yesterday anyway, so it's not too bad.
I wouldn't let a badger live in here. I wouldn't. It's just awful.
Look at this. Look, there's years of breadcrumb and whatever. It's disgusting.
While Hayley and Dan sort the kitchen...
Come on, boys. Come on, they're going to be a bit shy. Ginger's coming. Come on, Alice.
As well as a house cat, Cornelia also has 12 outdoor cats.
4 gingers, 4 tortoise shells and 4 black people. I'm going to come back as a cat in the next life. I think that's the best place.
I think what's getting quite repetitive is that she's got an excuse. She's always busy doing something else.
For the last 3 hours, Hayley and Dan have been unsupervised in the kitchen, allowed to clean using only soap and water.
It's just fur and dust over everything.
I don't even think she uses this toaster, Hayley. It's actually like a massive cobweb inside the toaster.
I just feel like I need to wash my hands now, Dan. Just give me that bleach.
A symptom of OCD is performing rituals, and some sufferers use bleach to reduce their anxiety. Although bleach can kill nearly 100% of bacteria, direct contact on skin can cause very severe burns.
They smell fresh, though. I did bleach my hands today, and I feel like that was a tiny step back for me, but I'm not now standing here thinking I need to go home and bleach my hands now. It was a spur of the moment thing that I felt like I needed to do it to make me feel better, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that from time to time, as long as it doesn't become a spiral out of control and become a thing again in my life. And it won't, because I won't let it.
Every cupboard has got a dinner set for 100 people. How many people does she have in this house at a time? One.
I think she's a hoarder.
It's not every day that I spend a week of my life in a 400-year-old house, but even then my expectations of a house so grand and a family that would live in it would be to have an immaculate, beautiful kitchen. At some point, we're going to have to read in and say, hello, are you coming to help, or are we just here as your servants?
I like it to look like an old place that's always been like that. You know, it's a kitchen.
It's essential that Plas is clean to attract more visitors.
And it's so much nicer.
But 6 hours into Hayley and Dan tackling the kitchen, she's concerned her 17th century vision is being altered.
I don't like them being in there with all my collections of things, and she's probably moving them or anything. I mean, I don't like it at all.
Downstairs, Hayley and Dan have rearranged the toaster and microwaves to make them more accessible and can finally see some results.
I tell you what, Dan.
Yeah?
This is coming up lovely with a bit of washing up liquid and hot water. I thought it would need a bleach, but it actually doesn't.
Oh.
Shocked at that.
Hello.
God, you're not polishing all under there where you don't see. That's madness.
Yeah, I was just cleaning off all the cobwebs and...
Yeah.
Are you going to help us clean at some point?
Help you clean?
Are you going to help us? Because the thing is, we need your assistance. We need to know what we can move, to make a bit more space for you.
Oh, no, I don't want anything moved. No, it's got to go exactly where it was. I mean, we must put those back on the floor, where they belong. But what have you done there? Oh, that's just while you're cleaning up, isn't it?
No, we were going to leave it like
No.
that. We were going to leave it like
no,
that.
it looks awful. It's visually, it's dreadful. You know, you can't come to someone's kitchen, my private room, and start putting things where you want them. When it's my house, I'm the person that lives here, and this is where I have breakfast and eat. I mean, what right do you think that you have to change how I want to live? If someone did it to you, what would you say?
We're not trying to change the way that you live. We're trying to...
Can you get it back to as it was? Okay. Honestly. Everything has its place in my life. And anyone I know would feel the same as I do about things. Would you have someone come and move all your things in your kitchen, in your life? So no one can alter things for me. I'm really annoyed. The sooner they go, the better.
For the last 2 days, OCD-diagnosed Hayley and order-obsessed Dan have been challenging their own obsessions and trying to turn round the fortunes of antique collector Cornelia Bailey's 400-year-old home.
Only one had enough money for heat. That's the biggest luxury in life.
In 3 days' time, Cornelia will be opening Plas for a house tour, but the deep clean has reached a stalemate.
I just feel like she is sucking the life out of me, and I have got nothing left to give right now.
Earlier, Hayley and Dan rearranged Cornelia's kitchen, which was not to her liking.
The frustrating thing is, if she was there for a bit of guidance and she told us, I don't want things there, then we would accommodate that.
And the whole thing would be done so much quicker. So much quicker.
For the last hour, Hayley and Dan have been restoring the kitchen back under Cornelia's strict instructions.
I can't believe we're doing this.
Putting it to the way that didn't work and that was cluttered. I know, it's ridiculous.
48 hours into their time at Plas, they've failed to stay over, and only the kitchen has been properly cleaned.
Oh, God, we're back to normal again. I mean, obviously you couldn't remember how that was, you know, because, you know, I don't like to see the microwaves when I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
I don't like to see any modern things.
Yeah. Is this okay?
Yeah, it is. Much better. Yeah, yeah. I'm amazed that you enjoy cleaning.
Yeah, I don't actually enjoy cleaning. I've got
You
an
don't
illness.
enjoy cleaning?
I've got an illness.
But
People
why do
have
you do it?
because I've got OCD, which is very common. So many people suffer from it and find it really hard to live a normal life. It's not something I enjoy doing. I don't wake up in the morning and think, I know, but I'm compelled to do it. This illness forces you and pushes you to clean. That's what it does.
And by doing the cleaning, it relaxes you.
It takes away my anxieties. I'm actually here not only to help you, but to help myself. And I have today. I've cleaned with your way, with soap and water.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy because
It works.
It works.
It works. Yes, yeah.
you know,
So you don't enjoy cleaning?
no,
But that's awful. You should find some other solution.
I've tried everything because I've lived this way for so many years, and I feel like being here is helping me. I've cleaned your microwave today with washing up liquid, and that's a massive breakthrough for me because it works. Years ago, I wouldn't really have left my house. I didn't hold any of my children when they were born because I was scared. Yeah.
I didn't realise any of those things, obviously. I mean, you don't realise, do you? Unless someone tells you.
Diagnosed with OCD in 2007, Hayley now manages her obsessions without the need for treatment.
I feel like with my OCD, I do every day. It's like I'm battling this illness, and I feel like every day I get stronger and stronger against it. And then, like, I have moments where I fall, but I feel like I'm doing so well.
Now over halfway through their time at Plas, Dan and Hayley have just 2 days left to make an impact and change the fortunes of pensioner Cornelia.
It's really nice, isn't it? It's absolutely stunning.
So they've travelled 50 minutes away to see how another stately home is run and how it generates money.
I think cleaning isn't going to be enough to sort Cornelia's problems. I think she needs money for water, she needs money to pay for the heating.
Arley Hall, a Grade 2 listed house that holds over 60 weddings a year. Owned by Lord Ashbrook and his family for the last 800 years, they employ 22 staff and General Manager Steve Hamilton.
We're in the wedding business. We're trying to get more weddings because they are very profitable. Absolutely. They're very profitable.
What do you charge them per wedding?
A Saturday in July or August at peak, you're looking at about $7,400 for the facility fee.
Lord Ashbrook's home and gardens have been open to the public for the last 30 years. But to maintain the property, he decided to start holding weddings here 10 years ago.
So this is the gallery, and this is where we hold the wedding breakfasts. Although it takes up to 100, we've had weddings here that have gone beyond that.
Yeah, I think this room is definitely the same size as Cornelia's.
The mission in life is to maintain the Arley estate, so we've tried to move with the times, and I think now that it's right that places like Arley should be available for as many people to see as possible.
Lord Ashbrook said that, you know, weddings here have guaranteed the survival of his home, and I feel like if Cornelia could do something similar, then it would, you know, guarantee the survival of her property.
The only thing that's holding Cornelia back from making money and doing the things that she wants to do is Cornelia.
Weddings could be the answer to Plas financial woes. In 2 days' time, it's Cornelia's house tour. Hayley and Dan want to turn it into a more lucrative earner by holding a wedding fair. All they need to do now is convince Cornelia.
Our primary goal is for you to be able to make the maximum amount of money with this amazing house. Say if you make £10,000 a wedding and you have, I don't know, 20 weddings, that's 20 weeks, that's £200,000. That's enough to have hot water all year round, all the bird feed you could ever think of, as many cheese pasties, cats eating caviar. You'd have a better standard of living, wouldn't you?
Yes, yeah.
So that's something that you want to aim for then, to be able to have the weddings here?
Yeah, because then we get the right people.
With Cornelia on board, the pressure is on to get the mansion ready to showcase weddings to prospective brides and grooms.
I feel like something's out of outbreak.
While Hayley finesses the perfect spot for bridal photographs,
One problem after another.
Cornelia is dealing with a problem that could get up the noses of prospective brides and grooms.
The drains are broken. We can't get rid of the sewerage and the water. Everything will be stopped. It's one of the disasters of owning a country house.
But a few stressful hours later, the drains are fixed. The wedding fair plans back on track, Hayley and Dan have joined forces to tackle the bathroom, to create the perfect dressing room for potential brides.
I'd die if my toilet looked like that. I honestly would. It just stinks of fish. I think there's so much wee on it that hasn't been cleaned off, and that's why it smells so fishy.
I'll finish it. I'll finish it. I'll finish it. Will you just put my sleeve up, please? Oh, no, it's not my plunger. That one's my plunger.
Dan cleans the toilet in his house 5 times a day and buys a new loo seat every month.
Just don't do it. Just do it quickly.
I can't do it.
Oh, don't come near me with that hand. I can't believe you just put that down there.
I need that spray.
You've got a really funny colour in your face. That's made it better.
It's now completely dark. We've been there all day. We've been in the bathroom for 6 hours, and it's just been the hardest day in the world.
Just as Hayley's about to leave Plas to spend the night at her hotel, Cornelia comes to find her.
Have you seen the bathroom, Cornelia?
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Are you happy with it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you've done a good job.
It's made it worth it now.
Yeah.
Because it was really hard.
Yeah, it looks clean and polished, which is nice.
This really makes me smile. I'm going to go to bed so happy this evening. I really am. I could burst. I'm so happy you like it. Night, Cornelia. Cornelia seeing the finished project in one room has actually changed her mind slightly, because she actually came and found me to say thank you and how happy she was. I don't even care that it's dark now. I feel like it was all worth it.
For the last 5 days, Hayley and Dan have been challenging their obsessions by battling the decades of dust at 400-year-old Plas.
This really is the last chance that we can make a difference here. We really want to make this place a wedding venue.
They may have failed to stay the night, but the kitchen, great hall and bathroom have now all had their first deep clean in 29 years. Ready to launch Plas for weddings, Hayley and Dan have arranged for Cornelia to have her heating back and get the boiler fixed.
So when did you last clean this boiler?
Never, no.
Never?
No.
In its current state, the boiler company won't service it due to health and safety.
I mean, the birds don't mind it, and the people that clean it don't normally. It's just this is some particular sort of idiot who can't bear dirt, even on the boiler. So.
There is now 4 hours till Plas opens its doors to the public. Hayley and Dan have kept Cornelia's 17th century look for the house, but are adding their own modern touches.
That looks so much nicer.
And even Cornelia, who hasn't bathed in 3 years, is sprucing herself up for the occasion.
What? Oh, we're not having these out. They look dreadful. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't want modern things like this around. I don't have anything on there. That, you know, it's not a cafe. Stop doing things that interfere. I don't allow anyone to put things that ruin Plas. Can't have things like that in this house.
Can we have the flowers? Just those?
No.
So, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't in this house.
Mm-hmm. It's my house, and I'm not having all this clutter and rubbish put about. No country house anywhere would have such things. I mean, it looks like a tatty, cheap place.
I'm really shocked about it. I thought it was starting to look so pretty, and I think it looks so much nicer and so appealing. Like, absolutely, that's for the first time I looked around the room and thought, this is really nice. And for her to just drag that away, it's like, wow.
I like using old things. Every spoon, everything I use is all second-hand and old, because I like the atmosphere. It looks like the sort of thing you see in the pound shop. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. They've got no taste, you know.
Haley and Dan's contemporary furnishings may have dive-bombed, but the house is now clean and ready for the guests to view. Cornelia's close friend and local historian, Mark, has come to see the house's cleaner image.
Looks amazing.
The Great Hall hadn't been deep cleaned for 29 years and was layered in decades of dust. It's now been vacuumed, the furniture polished, and Cornelia's 17th century vision has been preserved.
The carpet looks great.
The carpet looks good.
Yeah, definitely. Look at the colours.
Yeah. Probably only about 100 years old. It's not a good one, but it was from the latest Allspring.
But it does look...
we needn't bother for the next 6 months anyway, so it's all right.
The kitchen had never been spring cleaned, and the surfaces were piled high with books, antiques and china. After 24 man-hours, the kitchen has had its first ever scrub. It's now a hygienic and safe place to prepare meals.
Oh, wow, this looks really good. Looks really lovely, actually. I can't wait to eat from here.
The bathroom hadn't been deep cleaned for nearly 3 decades and had no running hot water. It's now been scrubbed clean with soap, and the boiler has been fixed. Cornelia can wash in her 19th century bath as much or as little as she wants.
This looks really lovely.
It does, it looks good.
Yeah, so since it's all been lavishly cleaned, do you think you'll ever get in it?
No.
No, okay. That answers that.
I haven't got time to have baths.
No. I think it looks really, really good, and I think deep down she is very happy, and I think that everyone who's going to be visiting will be amazed as well.
This great stately home is finally ready to receive the visitors that could be the key to Plasteg's financial future.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I just have your attention just for 2 minutes, please?
So we've been helping Cornelia all week, and we'd really like people to kind of come here and potentially look at Plasteg as a wedding venue, because both myself and Dan think it's an amazing place for weddings.
We definitely consider something like this house. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
I think Plasteg would make a brilliant wedding venue. I mean, as a young bride, can you imagine anywhere better to be photographed with Plasteg as a backdrop? I mean, it's absolutely fantastic.
Plasteg would make a really good wedding venue for people that want that little je ne sais quoi, just something a little bit different.
Oh my God, look at the turnout. We've got loads of people.
I feel like we've achieved the unachievable today.
High five.
We're off now, Cornelia, and I hope that you're pleased with what we've managed to do here.
I am. You've done a good job. You really have.
Whether you realise it or not, it has massively helped me being here this week. For example, I've used less bleach.
Oh, good. I'm glad about that.
We have learned a lot, and we will take a lot away from this, and we hope that we've opened your eyes a little bit as well. And... Right, shall we go?
Yes.
Right. All right then, Cornelia.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Cornelia.
you.
Bye. Being here in Cornelia's home and kind of living in a dirty environment feels like actually I've finally taken not a baby step and actually quite a huge leap. If I can go a whole week with using a small amount of bleach, then I think I'm well on my way to not actually having the illness anymore.
I'm hoping this week that Cornelia notices the changes and it does recognise it's a bit cleaner and that it's still okay. It still looks like the 17th century property it once was, but it's just a bit less dusty.
They have done a good job. They've made it much cleaner, got an end result. I think weddings could be part of Plasteg's future. I'll keep fighting the battle for this house because I love it.
Their standards are completely different league to mine.
Next time on Obsessive Compulsive Cleaners Country House Rescue...
I do not think that you are grateful. I think that you're treating me like a servant. I think we should just call it a day. Really pisses me off.
I don't know why she's gone. Her problem, not mine.
If you're interested in taking part in the next series of Obsessive Compulsive Cleaners, you don't need to live in a grand mansion. Our cleaners are keen to tackle houses of all shapes and sizes. Go to www.channel4.com/OC Cleaners.
OCC, same time next Tuesday. Thursday from 8, you've got to be ingenious to make it work. Grand designs of the urban kind. New series. Space at a premium for those living in the city. Now, next tonight, to give you an idea of the standard, we're talking A-level maths at the age of 10. Child genius. Gulp.